First off, if I was him, I'd immediately, after that one scream, I don't know who the that was. And I can't. Elmo's world, just kidding, cause now Elmo is unemployed. You know how fucked up that is? To make a puppet unemployed. Everybody panic! Oh my god! So Donald Trump's fascism has finally started to severely break the mold. And it's the reason it's doing that is because the illusion is falling apart. Is because his fascism, it's the funniest part is it's not even done by Donald Trump out of like an understanding or a malicious intent, because he's an idiot. Let's be real, he's a narcissistic idiot.
I don't think so, darling.
His fascism is done solely, whoa, my glasses are not even, it's like, it was like Tom Cruise. You ever notice how his face is actually like slanted? Maybe I just noticed it. But Donald Trump's fascism it's pushed to him by people who are just pure evil. Donald Trump is also pure evil, but he's pure stupid evil, which is a different degree. Granted, they both deserve the same response, but you know, whatever. I find it interesting that his fascism is breaking the mold, and weirdly enough, despite Republicans being instructed to not have town halls anymore, a few of them have been having them because they have no choice, right? Because their constituents are pissed. It's mostly in these red states, especially because a lot of these red states have been hit with natural disasters and have also been the first to feel the economic impact of Trump's tariffs and just his chaos and his misdirection of federal funds through his administration, and you know, his big beautiful bill and all this other bull. And you know, they're also the ones who are the first who will feel the threat of food stamps cuts and all these things. Rural hospitals are closing in record numbers. All of this stuff is happening because of the uncertainty, the fear, and the manipulation of Donald Trump's administration on the economy, healthcare, insurance, so forth and so on, and federal aid and federal money.
The American dream is dead.
As a result of him doing all these things, one of the things that is slowly starting to happen is we are becoming a more radicalized country.
Hey, yeah! Ha!
I wouldn't say we're becoming full-on socialist. I don't think there's going to be, you know, an army rise up of the bourgeoisie. No one's going to come out of, you know, Montana talking about the rich must never be allowed to live and everyone must live in Soviet bloc. That's not gonna happen.
I cannot believe this shit.
I don't think that's ever gonna happen in America, because we're still going to, even through all this, people are gonna hold on to the illusion of, you know, the American dream. This is happening in pursuit of it anyways, at the end of the day. And that American dream is, you know, a house and a home and a, you know, dog and fucking 3 snot-nosed devil rats running around with your jeans, a stable but probably fucking not heart-fulfilling job, right? But at the end of the day, it is becoming a little bit more radicalized in the sense of slowly but surely communities are realizing that Americans just accepting bullshit from their government is a very, very recent phenomenon. Very, very recent in comparison to the overall time period upon which we have existed in this colonial conglomeration of commonwealths forming a republic that is faking as best as it can to be a democracy. It's not. But anyways, it has the opportunity to be. And a sign of progress, Republicans, like I said, were instructed not to have town halls. I think I said that. But they were instructed not to have town halls because their party leadership knows what they are doing is going to start to piss people off to a level that if you just go and talk to people, that's not enough, especially Republican voters. Talking to them is never enough. True that. True that. For Democratic voters, it's kind of enough because the Democratic voters, they operate with this false fucking civility. It's so annoying. They take a good speech and they act like, well, at least they wiped my ass before fucking me. It's like, yeah, but they still fucked you.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they wipe the blood away after. Like,
What did you say?
it was still, you get what I mean. But Republican voters aren't the same. Republican voters, if you're going to rile them up on something, they want to see you do something about it. Otherwise, they start to go either delusionally deranged, or they start to ask questions about why you're not fulfilling the promises of the threat against the threats you claim that were there. Normally that works, even if they don't fulfill the promises, but we're currently in a situation where a lot of these red states are truly lingering on the brink. They were already hovering over it before. That's why, you know, no one wanted to live in red states in the Midwest, right? People left those states. People left red states in the East Coast. People left red states on the West Coast, you know, or moved to cities in red states so that way they could enjoy the fruits of the bare minimum, a liberal mindset, which is not great, but it's a whole lot better than conservatism, because conservatism basically requires a truly unenjoyable lifestyle. It's so fucking moderated and all this stuff, and that might even be fine, except for you have to make people comfortable, and conservatism, Republicans don't do that. The only people they make comfortable are people with at least 2 commas in their bank account. So let's take a look at what happened when a Republican did what he was not supposed to do, which is hold a town hall.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps, and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism?
Not to mention also we're spending $200 million on a fucking ballroom after also spending probably a couple million putting concrete in the fucking Rose Garden. Racism is expensive.
It's funny because it's true.
Add assholism, which is also expensive. You just arrive at fucking failure.
How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
And here's why I say they're pushing us towards radicalization. When have you heard a Republican? This woman, I am certain, is a Republican voter. The people who are about to argue with this guy, their representative, I'm certain are Republican voters. Half that room is probably MAGA voters. Now, granted, some of them probably also are still going to hold on to the delusion of Trump didn't want this, which, you know, whatever. Beyond the point, okay? Eventually, they'll come to the realization, or they won't. Who cares? For them to outright say and call their government fascist, these are the supposed bleed red, white, and blue of fucking whole stock Americans. And they're like, nah, y'all are fascist. For them to call them that, their representatives that, and their government that, that's a big step. You might think, yeah, but it's obvious. You don't understand. These people live in a totally different world than most Democratic voters. They live in a world that kind of feels like America's status has never left that high post-World War II, when that high immediately died after the Korean War. Hell, it died during the Korean War. So it's not actually been this mythical figure really that long. It had its heyday at a peak and rewrote history, but immediately everyone was just like, yeah, but I mean, you guys are you guys. We paid for Europe to rebuild itself. Marshall Plan. There's a shit ton of our money. Why didn't they copy us? I'll tell you why. There's 2 reasons. One, because the people who were giving the money knew that if they instituted capitalism, it would eventually always lead towards communism, because full-on capitalism always basically disrespects majority of the population, eventually causing revolt. So they didn't want to do that. And also option 2, socialism was just better, and they knew it. So they implemented socialist light, very diet socialism in these European countries during the Marshall Plan was rebuilding. Very diet, very controlled. That's why the CIA is involved in every goddamn government election in Europe from 1945 onward. Had the CIA's hands all fucking over it, all over it. For people to call the government fascist that normally believe that this government is still on that mythical high, the post-World War II, we kicked the world's ass and saved it, blah, blah, blah era. For them to call this government fascist, you fucked up. Okay, you fucked up because they held on to that delusion for what, 80 goddamn years?
Americans went to the polls in November, and they had a choice between a Democratic candidate that had an open border, no enforcement, fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell was in a prison while Biden was in office. And now she's at a summer camp in Texas.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us. Something seriously wrong with it.
Which actually, if you come to think about it, based on natural disaster histories and lack of FEMA aid and lack of warning systems, might actually be the only way upon which the victims get justice if we have a freak flood again. And that prison is in a valley somewhere. That might be too much of a joke or too early. I'm not sure. We'll figure out one day. Also, to say that the Democrats and stuff were pushing open borders. Democrats deport on average more fucking people compared to Republicans, compared to Republican presidents. Okay. I think Republicans are doing this aggressive shit. Like, Republicans love to say this, that Democrats are always having these open borders. Obama deported more than Trump. You might say, okay, well, Obama had 2 terms. Biden deported more than Trump in his first term. And Biden had 1 term as well. What are you talking about? The borders are not open. We spend billions upon billions a year. It's all pandering bullshit. Why do you think the cartel invests so much in finding ways to hide drugs and all this stuff? Because the border is not open. If it was, you would have seen newscasts showing you literal convoys bringing in fentanyl without even a hesitation at all to hide it. And yet you have to invest billions upon billions of dollars in equipment to discover whether someone is hiding something in a truck. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's because the border's not open. The fuck?
And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said...
First off, if I was him, I'd immediately, after that one scream, I don't know who that was. I'm not continuing that conversation. There is a woman ready to murder in the crowd. That scream was ready to murder. Also, he is sweating bullets.
Close the border. Get illegal immigrants out of our country. Stop the fentanyl. Stop the human trafficking. Stop the drugs. Stop the crime. Stop the violence. That's what Americans voted for. Americans voted.
First off, can't stop the violence if you just morph the violence into something that it wasn't before. Now the violence is the government. Well, it was violent before. But you know what? I know the messaging you guys need to hear, okay? You can't stop the violence by morphing it into a different kind of violence, which is state-sponsored violence, which is what ICE does, okay? State-sponsored fucking violence. There was a TikTok the other day that I saw where it was a girl who was talking about her girlfriend got picked up by ICE despite having all the paperwork. They claim she did a 1099 form wrong, which is bullshit because she does all her girlfriend's forms with her. And she met these people while waiting to see her girlfriend at the ICE detention center, which, by the way, she never saw her girlfriend. But she was waiting, and there was this family where the baby, there was 3 kids, and there was like a baby, like a 2-year-old, and like a 5-year-old autistic boy. The autistic boy had to spend 24 hours in the hospital because he got maxed out by the interaction with ICE. But the 2-year-old girl had a black eye. Now, how does a 2-year-old girl get a black eye with an interaction with ICE? Maybe because they're violent dogs. All to arrest their father, who apparently was here, according to the stories. Again, this is hearsay, but even if it wasn't hearsay, a 2-year-old should not be getting a fucking black eye because violent dogs punch in windows and shit on the whole car, by the way, to get the illegal immigrant guy who wasn't resisting. A 2-year-old with a black eye. 2-year-old little girl with a black eye. Whichever ICE agent punched her, I hope your hand forever fucking hurts. Hope every time you go to beat your meat, you can't.
For a border that is secure. And I support The president enforcing our immigration laws.
I have read a dozen or so.
And they always go back to, well, Donald Trump said that we should do this, and I support Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is gonna be like, they're all just a bunch of fucking mini JD Vances. They're like, you didn't say thank you.
Books on authoritarianism and fascism. You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise.
First off, little claps. Second off, y'all done fucked up so bad y'all got these motherfuckers reading? What the fuck? What? To Democratic voters that go through school without reading, you have no excuse. You have no excuse. These motherfuckers are reading now. It's a joke. I'm kidding. Okay, I know people still read, but it's like, you know, this is the get the books out of the library fucking party, right? Like, this is the, oh, it had a gay couple that kissed on like page 93 of a 150 page book, and now it must go from a high school bookshelf. Let me tell you something. I liked dick before high school. I just didn't know what the fuck it was. I didn't know what that feeling was, okay? And guess what? That's my prerogative. Yes! And I mix it up, you know what I mean? I like the dick and I like the river.
Yes!
Have you ever spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist machine? They are learning.
This is why they want to get rid of the Department of Education, because you're learning, and that is a danger. When you have an ounce, it doesn't even have to be a full. If you have 5% knowledge of what the fuck you're actually talking about, you are a literal threat. If you have 10%, you need to die today, according to the fascist government. And if you have 15%, they are confused how you haven't started a revolution yet. And these motherfuckers are operating in like 2% knowledge of the whole thing.
Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer.
Well, you're the dumbass who decided to hold one. They told y'all to stop doing it. I don't know if you recall that. You're the dipshit. You thought you can go in there and, you know, wax philosophical and pander, and your voter base would just take it. But your voter base is broke, hungry, tired, and done with the bullshit. So they came prepared, you dipshit.
Dumbass.
Fucking sweaty virgin looking motherfucker. So let's read the article by David Atkins and Allison Main. No one's gonna get me on saying I don't give accreditation. Rep. Mike Flood faced a barrage of criticism at a packed town hall in Lincoln, Nebraska Monday evening as audience members repeatedly confronted him over his support for President Donald Trump's big beautiful bill. Whoa, dyslexia. Immigration policy and what they described as threats to democracy, which I will say this. Lincoln, Nebraska, I mean, I'm not saying it's like a progressive bastion, right? But it's a forward area of Nebraska as far as progress goes socially. But still, it is fucking Nebraska. It didn't take long for those gathered for the meeting at the University of Nebraska to erupt in chants of tax the rich. Like, the craziest part of this all is America's economic explosion post Great Depression is owed solely to the fact that we taxed the fucking rich. And someone's gonna say, no, it was the war. It was the war that saved it. Motherfucker, the government was so broke during the early years and the middle years of World War II. It was so fucking broke that war bonds literally was the name of the goddamn game. That's why you had these war bond rallies. You have wars today, they don't have these fucking war bond rallies. Why? Because the government was still fucking broke. It was still, the economy was still shit. And you know, I say, okay, what about late war? Late war, we were the only country that still had infrastructure. So yeah, we were rich comparatively to the rest of the fucking world. And we took that advantage and we boosted it by taxing the rich and bolstering the welfare state, ensuring that people had the means to go out and improve their lives however they wanted. Now, granted, that really only focused on men, but slowly opened up to a certain degree, not as much as one would want for what one would consider equal, but it slowly opened up. And as it slowly opened up and allowed more and more tiers of society to partake, our economy consistently grew year over year over year over year over year over year over year. One of the reasons that we per se beat the Soviets was literally because of this factor. We had a steadily growing economy because we steadily allowed more and more people the boost necessary and the support necessary to establish themselves in that economy. Okay, and you might say, oh yeah, well see, that's a sign that communism doesn't do that. What happened in the Soviet Union was not communism. Lenin died before he could even get remotely close to that. Lenin died a dictator.
I cannot believe this shit.
Okay, so there wasn't communism. Communism doesn't have dictators. We don't know what the communism would really look like, and we don't know how long it would actually last because we've never fucking had it. The Soviet Union failed because of really poor decision making when it came to economic plans. That's basically it. It's Russia alone. Just the state of Russia has a shit ton of resources. A shit ton. And I don't mean cheap resources. I mean the expensive shit. We still buy titanium from fucking Russia. Majority of the world's titanium comes from Russia. Russia's rich in resources. Its gas fucking basically powers all of Europe. It was poor fucking economic decision planning from a bunch of dipshits trying to stay in power, which is what we now have now. Just because we've been branding ourselves as democracy, we can consistently can say, well, this works better than communism. No, it's just fucking autocracy and oligarchy with a different wrapper. That's all it is. While the Republican congressman attempted to defend his decision to vote for the president's massive agenda, I truly believe, let me say it like a fucking annoying ass virgin fucking weeb. I truly believe that this bill will allow Americans to experience the growth, that it will allow our communities to thrive, that it will spark our economy, that it will help farmers and the ranchers, that it will take care of the vulnerable. And more than anything, I truly do believe that this bill protects the Medicaid for the future. And I love Daddy Trump. Flood said, speaking over outbursts from the crowd while sweating fucking bullets. Dude had enough fucking sweat coming out of his fucking pores to literally water every farm in fucking Nebraska. It'd be some salty ass fucking corn, but hey, you know. Flood, one of the few members of his party to hold in-person events during the spring congressional recess as the GOP looked to avoid blowback from the president's Doge initiative, as well as, you know, protecting Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Just be honest. Headed the National Republican Congressional Committee's updated guidance to focus this August district work period on selling Trump's agenda. You can't sell more money for the rich to people who are fucking starving. Doesn't work that way, buddy. Even if those people are flat stupid. Not saying that people in Nebraska are, but you live in Nebraska. No offense. But even if those people are flat fucking stupid, they couldn't, as my grandmother used to say, even if those people couldn't pour piss out of a boot or piss out of a bucket. I don't know. I can't remember. Either way, even if they were that level of stupid, you can't look to someone like poor as hell and say, you know what your problem is? Migrants and rich people don't have enough money. They're going to look at you and they're going to be like, you mean the rich people that took my family's farm? They took the farm? Those people? They need more money on top of the farm? That doesn't work. With the one big beautiful bill showing in the wall just a few weeks ago, this is a critical opportunity to continue to define how legislation will help every voter and push back on Democratic fear-mongering. And I love Daddy Trump. The memo from the NRCC, the House GOP's campaign arm, stated. I don't care if I said that with the fucking virgin kid voice. They're all fucking weeb assholes. But as he did earlier this year, Flood met a largely hostile crowd. The congressman was pressed on everything from the president's sweeping tax and spending cuts legislation, veteran issues, Medicaid funding, and the war in Gaza during a wide-range question and answer period. Which, again, even if you're flat fucking stupid, no one likes to see baby murder. I have said this over and over and over, and no one definitely wants to have their money going to that baby murder, because the reality is this, I will say this till the day that I die, America was not only just complicit in the genocide in Gaza, we carried it out. Israel does not piss in a toilet bowl without our fucking approval. Just the way it works. Still, he maintained his position on the president's domestic agenda package. Is every bill perfect? No. But I supported this bill, and I love Daddy Trump, he told the crowd. Okay, bro, I hope you fucking do know that you're in a state with like 98% of the population has a legal fucking firearm and is legally allowed to carry it. Like, are you fucking just insane? Are you stupid?
Yup!
The fact that people are arguing and complaining about things that normally one would expect from the left, it's the one good thing that comes from this MAGA stuff. Granted, we all have to endure the fucking shit show that comes along with it. But at the bare minimum, at least the people we've been screaming at over and over and over and saying, hey, I want you to live a better life. I want everyone to live a better life. Only way we can get that is if we make the rich pay their fair share and fucking actually restructure to aggressive degree this government. Are finally starting to see, okay, maybe some of the shit you say I don't agree with, but you know what? A good fucking bit of it I do agree with. Is this happening everywhere? Nope. It's not happening everywhere. Is this going to create a tidal wave overnight? Nope. Me personally, I believe that the only way this country is going to truly see a significant change is it's going to have to break. There's too much on the table. There's too much bullshit on the table. Too many things that need to be addressed. Now, granted, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I'm a pessimistic asshole.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm tired. I'm annoyed. My birthday is August fucking 8th, and it feels like I just would rather spend that day being lowered into the grave. But I do believe in the human spirit, and the human spirit tends to triumph. So, will this change anything? Probably not. But it's good to see Republicans literally getting lit the fuck on fire by their constituency. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think down in the comments below. Would you have gone on stage? And if so, would you have at least brought a towel with you? Because good lord, the man looks like he's freaking about to create the Atlantic Ocean in that room. Appreciate you watching. And here's to hoping all red states have a radicalized central revolution of sorts. So that way we can finally start marching towards progress. But one must try to get the way, because the way, and then we do the thing. And the real question is, have you ever said thank you to Daddy Trump? You better say thank you to Daddy Trump, or I'm going to sweat all over you.